So, you suck at manualing. Well, today I'm going to give you some tips to improve your skills and take your riding to the next level.
And here he is, Jeff Flanoski.
My name is Jeff Flanoski, and I've been riding professionally for over 25 years. I started out as a bike trial specialist trying to ride my bike over everything in my path. And I mean everything. Nowadays, I enjoy tackling the most technical mountain bike trails I could find, and if those aren't difficult enough, I'll make up my own. I love sharing my knowledge with fellow riders to help them improve their skills. Ride with me, and I'll show you how to be a trail boss.
Before we talk about some of the most common mistakes I see people making, let's do a quick overview of the manual. A manual is essentially a standing wheelie that you do without pedaling. In order to lift your front wheel, you need to take your weight, which is basically in your hips, and get it behind the rear axle, find the balance point, and then hold it as long as you can. Here's how you do it. Roll at a medium speed, level pedals, neutral body position, standing tall. Shift your body weight down and back to get your weight behind the rear axle and find your balance point from there. By moving your hips forward and backwards, you'll be able to adjust your balance point and you'll be able to hold manuals for a long distance. Find some grass and some flat pedals if you have them. Manual with your finger on the rear brake. If your front wheel starts to get too high, you can use your rear brake to safely bring it back down. The number one mistake I see when people are trying to learn to manual is an improper preload. Too often I see them preload the handlebars and then lift their front wheel straight up. It's really important to get your weight behind the rear axle, and you could do that one of two ways. A lot of people teach you to get your weight down and back, which if your bike was bolted to the ground or in a manual machine, makes 100% sense to get your weight down and back. But another way to think about it is by accelerating your bike forward. Since your bike moves freely in space and your body moves freely in space, it makes just as much sense to say push forward with your feet and accelerate your bike forward as it does say down and back. Whichever one makes more sense to you is the proper way to think about it. Another common mistake I see when people are trying to learn to manual is hinging too much at their waist. So a hinge at your waist is when you bend at your waist. When you're accelerating your bike forward or getting your weight back and you slouch over the front of the bike, you're never truly getting your weight behind the rear axle. So it's really important to keep your shoulders open, your arms relatively straight, and your back relatively straight so that your weight stays over the rear axle. Once you start getting your front wheel consistently in the air and you're getting the hang of using your hips to find your balance point, the number one thing that will probably stop you from doing long manuals is keeping your head down. It's very tempting to want to look at your front wheel, but if you look off in the distance or maybe even a point on the horizon, it'll help you hold your manuals much longer. Once you've got your front wheel up, your shoulders are open, your back is straight, your arm is straight, you're really using your hips to find that balance point, and your chin is up and you're looking in the distance. If you find your bike turning, it's probably because your pedals aren't level. Once you start to hit manual zen, you'll learn that you could steer your bike using your hips and your feet, but when you first start out, that could just cause problems. So in order to keep your bike going straight, manage your weight. Manuals are an awesome and fundamental skill to have in your toolbox. Something as simple as a bike length manual will help you smooth out the trail, ride certain drops, and get over obstacles. Super long manuals are fun and a great way to impress your friends. Just like anything else, they take a ton of practice, so put in the time now because it'll pay dividends later. Thanks for checking out the video. If you've made it this far, please consider subscribing. And also check out my private Facebook group. I'll put a link in the description below. It's a place where you can talk all things bikes with like-minded riders and receive online coaching from me. That's it for now. Until next time, get out there and be a boss.